Touchdown, Chargers!
What's up, guys? We are back with a brand new episode of Chargers Weekly. Chris Hayre here with you, as always, joined by the voice of the Chargers, Matt Money Smith. And Money, we've had a lot of fun this offseason, but why don't you set up what we just did earlier this week?
Yeah, I had a chance to sit with Coach, and Coach is the best, man. He said, look, I wish you could spend more time with you, but it's a hard 15. I got some stuff to do. And then you look up, and it's almost 40 minutes later because he loves football, man. And if you're just talking football, he's going to talk football, and he's going to like talking football and keep talking football. So it was a great conversation. We did it on Monday, I believe, was his window that he had open. So obviously some things, if they came up between Monday and today when this thing is posting, understand, that's kind of when we did it. The Ted Lasso thing sort of caught fire, after, and we were going to get into it with him, but that was, planned for the end of the interview. Yeah. And at that point, he's like, I really got to go. But yes, please stick around. Some stuff to go through here with Monday being that last day of rookie minicamp that the media had availability to in the pressers. So dig into a little bit of that here, and then we'll get to our interview and it's not an interview, it's just conversation. He's doing most of the talking. We're just kind of lobbing things back and forth and really enjoyed it.
He's just infectious, man. It's mid-June, and we're talking about everything from the offensive line. I think there was a 7 or 8 minute answer to one of your questions about the offensive line, to Derwin James, to Ben Herbert, to these rookies, and just the work that they're putting in right now. And this was the last week of OTAs where it was just rookies. The vets have left the boat. So we got to talk to Coach right before he got on the grass with the guys on Monday. And later that day, after we did the conversation with Coach, Tre Harris and Oronde Gadsden went to the podium. Yeah. And those are just two of the examples of the work and some of the stuff that they're doing to get to that NFL level. I thought both guys gave really good answers at the podium about Justin Herbert, and then Gadsden in particular, just about the work ethic and everything it requires to be an NFL player, and kind of the advice he got from Coach Herb to get there early and go through the plays by himself at 5 a.m. These are two guys, I don't know how quickly their impact is going to be felt during the regular season, but I cannot wait for training camp and the preseason games to kind of see what these guys have.
Yeah, I think in the case of Gadsden, what you're alluding to, if the folks haven't seen it yet, be sure to check it out. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's just going to be, the next, 2 or 3 videos down. Gadsden, much like me, I was doing FM morning shows. I started in 1994 working on Kevin and Bean, and I stopped in 2003. 2005, I stopped. So 12 years of waking up at 3:30 in the morning. And here I am 20 years later in 2025, and I still can't sleep in. I can't. My body will not allow me to sleep late. I don't set an alarm. My body wakes me up. I promise this is going somewhere. My body wakes me up typically now at about between 4 and 4:30. And before, I would just get up, I'd make some coffee, I'd read the paper. Yes, there was this thing called the newspaper people. And then I kind of got to this point where I was like, man, I got to shake some ass. This is crazy. I can't sleep in. I've tried. I got to get to work by 8:39 is when I would get into, when I was in the record business before I got into radio. And then I got into sports, and I'm doing an afternoon show. So why the heck am I waking up early? And then I'm doing the Lakers, and I'm doing Laker Line until 11:30 midnight. Point being, I found at first golf, and I was first one out, dawn patrol, and I would jog the course so I could get my run in, and I'd play golf because I had to do something. I wanted to feel productive. And then now I get up, and I'm first one in the water like I was today, and I surf from 5. Today I surf from, I'm in the water at 5, and I'm out of the water at like 7:30. So Gadsden shares with us, he's like, I just can't get off East Coast time. And I'm up at 5, and I'm just kind of looking for something to do. And, Coach Herb, another Herb story, says, well, just come in, walk the facility, go walk, do mental reps of your plays on the field. And he's like, yeah, I'll be the only one here. He's like, okay, it's all yours, dude. The whole place is yours. And I think that speaks to an incredible, because it took me a minute to get there, right? I had to mature enough to realize, oh, don't just sit around. Like, you can be productive. You can actually get some stuff done and get your day started instead of just bemoaning the fact that you can't sleep. And I think it speaks to the maturity level of a Rondé Gadsden Jr. that he, is like, yeah, okay, I'm up. And instead of just trying to go back to sleep, I'm going to get some stuff done. And we learned that he's been the first guy in the building between 5 and 5:30, rides his bike in because they didn't have a car yet. And he's getting a ton of stuff done. And I know it's a long story and I'm talking a lot here, Chris, but it gets me to the point of it's why he looked the way he did. It's why he really shined in that veteran minicamp. And we saw Herbert going, I think he had 8 targets, 7 catches in that last veteran minicamp day on Thursday.
The confidence that both Tre Harris and Gadsden possess, you can feel it in those pressers. Gadsden said, I guess they asked him, is anybody else in the building? He goes, yeah, the security guard's there.
Yeah, I say hi to him every morning.
I say what's up to the security guard in the morning. Sometimes there's people in the training room, but that is what Coach alluded to, and he's not just saying it. Like, these guys are putting in the work. For Gadsden to come in here into that tight ends room too, where there are veterans, and he talked about the vets, Will Dissly and Conklin and even Tucker Fisk, being able to help Rondé kind of find the way as a rookie. It's a great room to be in, and I still think that Conklin and Dissly are going to be the guys that kind of lead the way, especially at the beginning of the year. But Gadsden just looks the part. He was the 3rd-team All-American at Syracuse, was originally a wide receiver. He just looks like a tight end. He said he didn't play basketball, but he could certainly rebound. And then one of the things that Tre Harris said, talking about Justin Herbert and just kind of getting used to a quarterback like him who's got the velocity and is going to put it on the money. He goes, if you put it on the money, I'm going to catch the football. So I feel the confidence from this rookie class, whether it's some of the defensive guys or some of the pass catchers. They're not intimidated by the moment. In fact, I think they're embracing the fact that they have a quarterback like Justin Herbert.
Yeah, to echo what Coach Harbaugh said about Gadsden, I felt the same thing. Just watching his film and watching, what he was doing at Syracuse, the way he moves, the way he was used, he'd be playing, I'm not going to say he'd be playing X, but they'd split him out pretty wide, at times at Syracuse. And he was clearly a pass-catching tight end. So I just assumed that as a former wide receiver, he's recruited to play wide receiver at Syracuse, converted to tight end, that he was going to look like that, like one of those tight ends. And then you see him and you're like, oh, this dude's pretty thick, man.
He's big.
He's got a trunk on him now. And I think that also speaks to when, he talked about having 4 different offensive coordinators and multiple head coaches during his time at Syracuse and how the transition went. And again, just speaking to his maturity mentally, but also time on task. Like, hey, we think you'd be a better tight end. And him saying, okay, well, I want to play tight end in the NFL. Well, you're 190 pounds. Here's what you got to do. So to know that guy went from 190 pounds his freshman year to 250 his senior year and still moves with that level of fluidity speaks to, like I said, maturity, mental acuity, but willingness to put in the physical. Putting 60 pounds on, that is some work, man. That is some serious work. Now, I know you're taking a bunch of weight gain and you've masked up over there, Chris. So I'm not sure if you and OG are having conversations about all that weight gain you're on.
I'd be on the pup list in 24 hours, bro. I go out there, I'm on the pup list immediately.
But he's a lot bigger. And I think that, and he talked about how important it is for him to get the blocking right and how he's talking to Tucker Fisk about footwork and head work, and where his head needs to be and where his hands need to be and how important that is to him. I thought it was a great answer. Instead of getting defensive about, his blocking and what he needs to do, he said, what's the goal of every football player? Be able to play every play. It's like, so he goes, I want to be in every play. So if I want to be in every play, I got to figure out how to block. And so I'm going to figure it out because I intend to play every play. And so I thought that was cool. And then talking about how, as he was doing his mental reps or, getting his mental reps while walking through the plays on the field, how he went through each tight end position when it was 2 tight end sets. He's like, yeah, so I would walk the first, each of those, and then I would get on to the next play. It just seems, I was incredibly impressed. But that's, his dad was a pro, and his dad was an undrafted free agent, had to fight his way onto a roster, and ended up having a decade-long career where he was very successful. So I think that certainly paid a ton of dividends for Aronde.
Yeah, and Aronde said, I need to arrive early. My dad says always arrive early. And that just shows that want to. And, as far as the blocking is concerned, and he even said it, you're not going to really know where you stand as a blocker until the pads come on in training camp.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of that ramp up to training camp. And and I don't want to give anything away with our conversation with Coach, but I think it lends to the competition that's going to be in each room, man. Like, they got deeper as a football team. If you're a Chargers fan in 2025, man, you should be excited. You're coming off an 11-win season. I know that it's a very difficult division with Hall of Fame coaches and the Chiefs who have run it for the last decade plus, but this is a team that just feels different this year in terms of the depth, how they want to play football. Just seeing the clips of Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris run the football in minicamp, it can't do anything but get you juiced for the season. The team teased 2 uniforms that are coming. I mean, there's just a lot of excitement here in the middle of June with an early training camp because of the Hall of Fame game and having that extra preseason game, Brazil week 1. For as much as we like to say, okay, we got a little bit of a summer break, it's going to be here in a blink.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think July 15th, I think, is the uniform reveal. So 2 new, a road and a home. Exactly. Right when you get into camp, we'll see those new uniforms. How much I love uniforms. So very excited about that. And I can only hope that the pressure I have put on John Spanos will pay off. But I have a feeling it won't. So just me and the fans, we just do not see, we do not align in what we want from our uniforms. But that's a conversation for another day because we got Coach on. And just to kind of build and not ignore Tre Harris, I think you covered most of it, but it's funny, right? Everybody is wired differently and operates on a different clock. And Tre was the opposite, right? Tre's like, man, I get here and I go through everything and then I'm standing around like, that's it? That's all we're doing? Like,
hey, Lane Kiffin was putting those fellas through like 12-hour days, it seems like.
Right. Yeah, he was like, so I just look for stuff to do. He's like, I don't want to go home yet, so I'm just kind of, can I get some more? Can I get with Herb? Can I get into a playbook? Can I watch some film? Can I go outside and move around? Can I pick the brain of some of these like, it's good to see. It's exactly what Coach talked about with the rookies and, how impressed he's been with what they're doing. And look, it all goes back to really 3 guys. Like, if you talk about tone setters, right, on this team, it's Derwin James, Justin Herbert, and Khalil Mack. And when you see them putting in the work and you see them doing extra and you see them getting with Coach Herb and going through, and you hear Khalil Mack say how important Ben Herbert's been for him and why he's here every day, like, that's just, if you're a rookie, you'd be like Coach says, right? What would Coach always say? Hey, you see Derwin? Just do what he does.
Do what he does.
That's the best advice. You see Khalil Mack, just do what he does. Follow him. Do everything he does, and you're going to be a better player for it. So it was impressive, and I think, look, just to kind of wrap up my last thoughts on the rookie day on Monday that we got to see, like, 2 things. One, I think actually just one. There's a clip, if you want to check it out, if you haven't watched it yet, not you, Chris, I know you have, but the people that are listening or watching, check out the Jim Harbaugh mic'd up.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool stuff in there. But my favorite, and it's something we noticed last year, his first year as the head coach, was, I wish I could remember the young man's name. I can't right now, but he was clearly a camp quarterback. And we're standing on the sideline and we're watching him work with this clearly 4th stringer, might be lucky to make the practice squad, but's probably going to have to latch on somewhere else. And Coach spent like 10 minutes with him, working on footwork and working on his what he needed to improve under center and what his drop back should look like and how he should be handing off. And there's that clip in there where he's talking to Trey Lance and to DJ. He's talking to DJ about the scramble drill and how, you're not, stay in the A gap and keep your eyes up. And he goes, this is what, and you see that individual work, and that's just a little sliver. And it just speaks to Coach being a do as I do, not do as I say kind of guy. He talks about feeling connected to every one of these guys, no matter if it's all-pro Derwin James or DJ Uiagalelei, who's our fourth-string quarterback. He's connected to them, and he wants to teach them and wants to make them better. And it's just so fun to see.
Yeah, I would suggest popping that on before the interview too. Just to, Coach has this unique way of, you said the instruction to guys like Trey Lance and DJ and even Heineke, just say, hey, we throw the ball away there. Just the quarterback one-on-one instruction, I think, is great. But then it's also just the fun talking to Ladd about baseball and telling Derwin he's a big PB&J guy. And Derwin's like, what do you like, strawberry or grape? He's like, surprise me. Surprise me.
All of
it's
it.
Just I'll take it all.
I'll eat apricot. Don't care. Let's go. I'm on the same boat, Coach. I just had a PB&J yesterday that was PB and apricot jelly. So I'm in. I'm with them. You know me, Chris. You travel with me. You know that what Sue Ella and Pina and June would put on my freaking seat. I got a stack of Uncrustables because I eat like a child.
You know what? Yes. I pack down the Uncrustables too, but I think you may be our leader. Maybe you're the leader in the clubhouse.
I think so. I think so. Do you want the steak and the Caesar salad for dinner, man?
No.
Let me think.
Give me the jumbo.
Why don't you just bring me 3 Uncrustables instead?
Give me the jumbo strawberry Uncrustable.
Yeah.
And a fork and knife. I'm good. Just
give me. Hey, I'm on the wheat peanut butter and honey Uncrustables too, man. I knock them all out. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I don't function like a professional football player either. I might be able to get a little bit of work in the morning, but man, I got to be careful because I way too much PB&J in my life.
Dude, I have I got a bunch of Uncrustables in the house. They're supposed to be for our twin girls, and then when my wife's like, "Why are they gone?"
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sorry, girls. Daddy was hungry.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's. Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it. I hate that you got to put them in the freezer and then I got to throw them on the counter for I'm just staring at it like, I know it's going to be a little frozen, but man, I want to eat it right now. I just want to get after that. It's
Hey, do you think fans want to hear Jim Harbaugh or more Uncrustable talk?
Exactly. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Here's Coach. All right, as promised, the head coach of the LA Chargers, Jim Harbaugh, joins us. And Coach, pleasure having you. What a great opportunity to close out the week with the rookies here as we get to the offseason officially.
It is. It's really exciting. We had a great 8 weeks with the vets, but to get the rookies, just give it one more coat of paint with just them, giving them all the attention. Chance to be better today than we were yesterday, better tomorrow than we were today.
You talked about the rookies in one of your pressers and how impressed you were with this class. What is it that impresses you? What do you expect from them when they show up, and what do you expect from them over the course of those 8 weeks?
Yeah, just get as good at football as they can. Really acclimate into the system, learning the terminology, and mostly just athletically, just showing us where we can implement them into the team. I did talk about them as a group, as a whole. The drafted, undrafted, they're just about their business. Not given one bit of grief, on the field or off the field, and they're looking to do, and that's really encouraging. I've made the statement, and if that offends any other rookie class that we've ever had, so be it. But so far, really good.
And that rookie class last year set a high bar with Joe Alt and Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, let's start there because there is no comparison being made to Ladd and Joe. I don't think any. That's a high bar.
Sure.
I wouldn't expect anybody to be able to accomplish what they did in their rookie season. That was otherworldly what Ladd and Joe were able to do. And Joe, as good as he was last year, I call him right now one of our most ascending players on the team. He's that much better, that much improved. Really I think he's on track for a Hall of Fame type of career. And I do not feel like I'm going out on a ledge by saying that. And with that being said, I still like that bar being set by those two. And the rookies that we have, Yeah, they got the license. They got the ability to strive for that. Don't know if they'll accomplish what those two did, but hey, have at it. And that's been the message, and been really excited how the guys are coming along.
It wasn't just Ladd and Joe though, like what Tarheeb and Cam were able to accomplish.
Correct.
And guys that didn't contribute last year because of whether it's injury or just kind of being developmental with Aboigbe and Junior Colston, expecting those guys to take a step in their second year, being that we didn't really see them on the grass last year.
Yeah, with Junior Colston, he had some setbacks early, appendix, ankle, but he did get on track. About middle of the season and contributed a lot. Played over 300-400 plays, on the season, and expect him right now. He's in the kind of shape where you want him. I mean, it's all his key performance indicators are 5.5, which is as high as you can get, and it looks pretty much across the board. And then Justin has had an incredible offseason. He really has. He put on 20 pounds, of good lean muscle mass. He's been doing everything and doing all the extra, and I expect really good things from him.
When you talk about that in off season, kind of, if you don't mind sharing, like, is it a guide that you give them for the off season? This is what we'd like to see from you, and then they're on their own. Are they expected to figure some things out? How does that all work? Because you talk about the Elite Nine and guys that showed up and how excited you were, but kind of walk us through what you expect from somebody's off season.
Yeah, real simple here. It's Ben Herbert. It's the Herb effect. I trust him. I trust and believe what he tells me, because it's always clear, it's always concise. It just always helps our team, and it helps me personally. And that's the way it is for every single guy. So what do we expect? If Ben Herbert is telling you to do more, then you need to do more. If he tells you to do less, do less. If he tells you you're in a good place, keep doing what you're doing. It's really that simple. He has it. The coaching, the expertise is so refined that and the proof now is there for all of us to see what he's been able to accomplish with individual players. And the second part of that piece is those veterans, those Elite Nines, and how they train, how they go about their business, how they practice, how they go to meetings, how they play in games. It's no accident that Khalil Mack, for example, is 34 years old.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He plays like he's 21. He is playing at 34 like he was 21 years old, and he's been able to do that every single year that he's been in the league. Now, nobody is that genetically blessed. Nobody has the genealogy to be as good at 34 as they were at 21. That is all about training. That's all about how you train, how you prepare, how you practice, your mental and physical capabilities always being refined at their highest level. So when I say the Ben Herbert effect, you also have these veteran effect. How Justin Herbert goes about his business, how Khalil Mack, how Derwin James goes about his, Rashawn, Ladd, Joe Alt. There is a Dayon Henley. It's those guys that set the incredible example, who are the tone setters. And now here's a rookie class coming in that's never had it as good as they could have it. I mean, no one has it better than them, to have Ben Herbert and his staff and to have these veteran players. Also, the coaching. Mike Elston, it's just well documented what he's able to do. Greg Roman, Jesse Minter. Another guy is Steve Klinkscale. The way he is able to coach the secondary, the way he is able to coach defense, I see it every single day. I mean, that's the triple threat right there. When you have veteran players as an example, a training staff like Ben Herbert and his staff, and the position coaches, all stars. I mean, no one could have it better than our rookie players, and they're taking full advantage of it. That's the thing I love, is that they're not shying away from the resources that they have at their disposal when it comes to getting better at football.
Coach, the one name that we have heard all offseason from a coach, a veteran, or a young guy has been Herbert.
Yeah.
Now, I go back to when you hired him in January of 2018. Could you have even envisioned the indelible mark that he's made at Michigan and now with the Chargers, with you guys teaming up?
Yeah, I did envision it.
I saw
That's why you hired him.
I knew it. I knew it like my name. And like I said, I when he tells me something, I believe it, because it makes me personally better, or it makes our team better, and all the time it just makes us better.
It's funny you hit on so many of the things in that one answer that I have here. So I still would love for you to expand a little bit, because you mentioned coaching, and that's one thing that I noticed when players hit the lectern, they oftentimes will mention their coach. And like Tony Jefferson, unsolicited, said Jesse Minter's a genius. Yeah. And he's like, I've known him longer than you guys have. I had him in Baltimore. So almost like he wanted to claim, hey, don't you claim Jesse Minter. He's my guy. Yeah. Just when you're assembling your staff, what you're looking for and why you think they've had this level of success. Because I have not heard players kind of celebrate coaches like this group of players does their positional coaches here.
Yeah. I mean, the top things is what I look for. I mean, first, guys that have expertise in coaching aspect of football, position, or defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator. They got to be expert at that phase. They got to be tremendous teachers, and that's synonymous with coaching, is teaching. They got to be able to motivate. They got to be able to motivate players. I mean, those are the big ones. I mean, there's others, but that's a people person. It's somebody that likes the game of football, loves the game of football, and wants to see others have success. Really, they're just two things. I mean, they're coming in and they're humble and hungry to make us better. But I know that list grew right there. But if I had to sum it up, it would be it's somebody that wants to make the players better at football. Want to make the best version of themselves off the field and on the field, and wants to win for that right there. Those two things.
Yeah. Sorry, Chris. I said this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago on the pod, and I hope it makes sense. I can explain it. I said, I've been doing this football since 2010, and all the coaches I've had the privilege to kind of be around and learn from and interview, I don't feel like I've ever talked to somebody or watched someone approach it the way you do. Just the positivity. I feel like, and tell me if this is accurate or not, I feel like when I hear you and I see you, talk with us in the media, like you bear a responsibility. That's what I feel like like I'm responsible for these players to be their best version. Whereas other coaches, it's like, hey, yeah, we're trying to get these guys to fit into what I'm doing, and we want them to kind of get with the program. And does that make sense? I feel like does that make sense? Is that your approach? Like, hey, I've got these guys that are the most elite athletes in the world, and the burden is on me to maximize what they're here to give of themselves.
You just said it. I mean, exactly the way I think of it. I mean, when it comes to me as a coach or the other coaches, we have to be the ones working the hardest so the players' hard work can be maximized. And it's everything that I thought as a player, a coach, somebody that can give me the answers, to the test. Somebody's going to put me in a position to be successful. Those are the kind of coaches that, I looked up to and wanted to be like. So that's what I aspire to do. Do anything and everything for the players to be successful. Individual player, the team. What can I do? I want to do anything and everything I can so they can be successful. And then I knew the way I was when I was a player, and I had a coach doing anything and everything in its power for me to be successful, it made me want to do anything and everything I could for the team to be successful and to win.
Coach, one of the players that really is an extension of that message is Derwin James. And Derwin talked about the patches and says he wants to get it down to his rib.
Yeah.
Him and Khalil kind of competing for those patches. You mentioned Khalil. When you have players like that, and, you just get to know them for a year, but I have to imagine it seems like you've known Derwin and Khalil much longer than a year with the impact that they've made on this program.
Yeah, and I've said it, a lot of times that, they're the ones who set the culture. I mean, I came in and just loved what they were doing, and so yeah, I want that. I want more of that. How can I be a part of that? What can I do to help? Because that's it was just instant click like that. And Derwin James, it's almost like, to me, it's like looking in the mirror. I mean, I see a young Jimmy Harbaugh. Every time I watch Derwin James, I mean, we're just like two peas in a pod, as my grandma Marie Harbaugh used to say. And if you're Derwin James, if you like football, you're going to like Derwin James. And Derwin James is going to like you back, and then we're going to roll.
The patches, if we could kind of get into it, because Derwin, when he got up, he kind of went through it. He's like, here's Ed Block, and this is playoff, and this is all pro, and then he said, this is block of granite. What's the what's the block of granite patch? How do you earn the block of granite?
You earn the block. Most of the 100 of the points are earned from production on the field in games. So that's 100 points goes to how many production grade, game ball. We have hero awards, we have blue collar awards, but it's your production in games and then amount of games played, and amount of plays throughout the course of the season. So who impacted us in games the most is 100 points out of 100, and then there's 7.5 points that can be earned. And they're grit points, and that's 2.5 for how you trained, 2.5 points for what we call TED, and that's there every day. So the amount of times that you were on the grass, the amount of times that you practice, and the training score that I mentioned, another 2.5 points, and then 2.5 points if you were playing through something. Physically, fill in the blank, something that you had to, gut out. You got a high ankle sprain, and you're Zion Johnson, and you didn't even miss a walkthrough. You got Zion had his teeth molar. He had root canal done, and 2 hours before a training camp practice, but yet he still practiced. And then in the conditioning afterwards, he was running with the big skill, which is a faster time than the O-line, D-line. He does it all the time. His conditioning is with the tight ends and the quarterbacks and the running backs and the linebackers. So he was getting some extra credit points. But so it's a total of 107.5 points, and it's completely objective, not subjective. Right. We come to the end of the season, and here's our top 6.
You should have a gala at the end of the year. It's not really blue collar, but what about, you present it in front of an audience and in front of it, you know what I mean? Maybe we get a live music or something at the end of it, and it's just like a big production. I mean, it's an award. It's like an award presentation.
Yeah, I think it's our MVP.
Right.
Our block of granite is our MVP. Justin Herbert was number 1. I think Derwin would have been 1 or 2. I think he might have finished. He'd have finished 1 or 2 had he played in the Broncos game.
Oh, right.
Or the Chiefs game. right? The Chiefs game is
Yeah.
the one that the NFL
right.
took a game away from him. So he wasn't able to get those production points. He wasn't able to get those play points.
Objective.
And grip points. And as much as it wasn't his fault that he got suspended for that game, because it really wasn't. I always thought that was a clean hit. But it's objective. So kind of slid him down, but he still made the top 6. It just shows you what an incredible player he is. But yeah, it's not a training. There's 2.5 points for training
Right.
score. That is all like what you do in games.
So that's the big
and
one.
production.
Blocker grant
That's
is the big one.
That's the big one in my opinion.
Okay.
It takes all into account. Who is doing anything and everything they can for the team, for the organization.
Coach, you mentioned so many ascending players last week, and as we take that break and get into training camp, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of competition in camp for spots, and there's going to be some really good players that may not make that 53. What are you most looking forward to from a competition aspect at various position groups come training camp?
It's a great question. The long list. It's never just one thing, but. If I had to boil it down to one thing, I just feel like we are better at, name a position group, and I think we're better. Depth-wise, competition-wise, those waters will be heated. And in some cases they're going to be hot. I could go through them. My defensive line, I think we're better. I think we're bigger. I know that.
For sure.
Offensive line as a group, it's just more talented. Better depth. Wide receivers, another one. As good as running back was, I think we're better there. Going into camp, the secondary. Been really excited about Dante Jackson. What he's shown in the offseason, Ben St. Juice, a lot of the things that a position where you can really see things before the pads come on, as opposed to edge rusher or even running back. Sometimes you gotta. It's tougher. You got to see it when the pads are on. Same with the backer position and the offensive line position and the defensive line position, but. Jasir Taylor's also another guy, ascending. You can just see it. And then you kind of go back and think about Jasir last year, played that really good game against the Raiders. Then he broke a bone in his leg in that game and kept playing. Kind of forgot about that, and then he's had a tremendous offseason. Excited where he's coming. The new addition, Tier Tart, Tito, really good players for us last year. They're continuing to ascend, and Naquan Jones and Deshaun Hand have been great additions. Also, really excited about that group. We need to be better, in stopping the run and having that run wall. So I think we're better at tight end. We're in a better place. I think we're in a good place, a really good place, and I think we're a better team because of the training that we've had, the additions. So thankful to Joe Ortiz and the entire personnel staff. I mean, where they went and found these guys, and brought them to us to coach and be a part of our team. Plus the draft, we're better. We're going to need to be. Schedule's going to be tougher, and all focus is really on that opener against the Chiefs in Sao Paulo. So a lot of good, lot more good. There's just a lot of good. Can never say it's perfect, but that's the simple message behind. Let's get better today than we were yesterday, and better tomorrow than we were today. So simple that it just might work.
Just on the O-line. I mean, you've done it to this fan base, man. We do we post the video on YouTube and there's comments. I have never seen a fan base talk more about the offensive line than the Chargers fan
topic.
base.
Hot
I
topic.
mean, it
Good,
is
good.
far
God
and
bless
away.
our God bless our fan
It
base.
is far and away
It's the
conversation.
tip of the spear.
Number one. So, and obviously we get a ton of questions about it. The big one is Zion and Bradley and kind of what you're doing there and what the vision is and sort of how you right now. I mean, that's all they talk about. What's the O-line going to look like? Who are the starters going to be? Is Zion going to be the center? I mean, it is not. Is everything good with Rashawn? Are we okay there? It's nonstop in the comments.
Yeah, well,
so how is that?
That warms the cockles of my
Yes.
heart.
I figured it would.
To hear that, there's my favorite part of the game of football these days is the offensive line. I'll give you a little trivia question. What position group relies on no other position group for themselves to be good? Yet every other position group relies on this position group to be successsul at their job.
I feel like we know where this is.
Offensive
line,
offensive line.
Exactly
Yes.
right.
Sometimes you get the argument from the D line, like, we don't need those guys.
Yeah.
We don't want. Do you like a 12-play drive? Do you like a 15-play drive? Oh, well, yeah. Good point, Coach. Yeah, we do like a 12-play drive. That's where my attention is to, most of the time as well. And they are the ones protecting Justin Herbert, who is our, he just contributes the most to this organization. He does anything and everything in his power, for us to win and be successful. Our jobs are all to, on the offensive side of the ball, really rise up to his level. Rise up to the level of Justin Herbert, and not to be, because he has no weakness in his game. He has no, so we don't want to be the weak link, whether it's coaching or offensive line or tight end or receiver or running back. We all want to rise up to the way he goes about his business and he trains, and that really starts with the offensive line. I mean, that's the, as you said,
Tip of the spear.
the tip of the spear.
I love it.
And it's been really good. Great to have Rashawn back. It's just way better, way different, way good for the Chargers when he's here, and that was obvious when he was here at the mini camp and looked great, in tremendous shape. He's one of our elite 9. Now it's elite 10. Josh Harris was added.
Elite 10.
Joe Alt, as I mentioned before, as good as Joe was last year, he is so strong now. We had one. I won't say any names, but somebody tried to hip toss him in a drill that we had, which you don't want to see, but the effort was made to hip throw Joe Alt, and it didn't budge. He didn't budge. And then Joe picked him up.
Like a child.
Set him back down. The young man learned that that's not the guy to try to hip throw. But ascending as much as any player on our team is Joe Alt going into year 2. Been really excited with Mekhi Becton. Just how big we are on the right side of the line of scrimmage. We'll dictate that we'll probably be a right-handed type of team. And then the center and the left guard have been Zion Johnson. I got to say is one of our most ascending players, and I don't think I put him in that 12, but he should be. He is an ascending player. Not only at left guard, but also at center. He's just picking it up so well and so good. And you see him climb to the second level with his athleticism. He can pull from the center position. We know he can pull from the guard position. And get him in space or in pulling or up onto the second level, it's different. Bose was tremendous. He played all the games. He was one of our blocks of granite last year, Bradley Bozeman. In the top 6. So and he can just, he's got the keys to the car. He knows all the calls. He's tremendous. He's shown that he's shown it in his career that he's as good or maybe even better at guard. So the versatility that we now have with maybe the combination is going to be better with Zion at center and Bose at guard. But if it's not, we know we got a great combination with Bose at center and Zion at guard. So we feel like we're in a really good place. Now the exciting thing is that there's guys really close to that starting five that will continue to keep having at it, and we'll have a lot of time to show maybe that they could. I don't see him displacing any of those five right now if all were healthy. All five of those were healthy, but Jamari Sawyer has had a tremendous offseason. He is almost all the way there in where he needs to get with his training and his body, and he's healthier than he was last year. Andre James has been a great addition, and Trey Pipkins, who started for us at guard last year. We're everybody healthy, projecting like be the swing tackle, Trey.
Right.
And the tremendous value. We have a starting caliber offensive lineman who is our swing tackle, is our plan right now, and that would be a healthy, game in, game out. We know we have a swing tackle that if something happens to one of our two All-Pros, then we've got a great player in Trey Pipkins, and he probably Trey. He should probably be in that. He's really close to that elite 10. The way he trains, I mean, it's almost all 5.5s across the board in his key performance indicators, and a good group of young offensive linemen. I think we're way better. It takes offensive linemen most of the time a year, to physically develop and mature and understand the speed and the calls and the everything that goes into offensive line play. But our drafted offensive linemen and our free agent signed offensive linemen, we're better. We're better in not 8 to 14 than we were last year. Great guys to work with and develop, because it's rare that not everybody's Joe Alt, Rashawn, and Zion to where they can just come into the NFL and be a starter in year one. So yeah, as I said, a lot of good, and appreciate the Charger fan base. I mean,
they love it.
You're just like me. Yeah. You're just like me.
They're all over it.
That's all I think about too. Mostly, I think about other things, but I mean, high percentage is the offensive line.
Yeah. Coach, we know you got to go and get on the grass. We can't thank you enough for your time. It's hard to believe training camp is a month away. Are you going to do anything? Uncharge the batteries for a month before camp? Relax?
Yeah, my wonderful family. We got a trip to see our families back in Michigan, and Sarah's in Kansas City, and then we have my daughter Katie wanted to go to somewhere tropical, so we got something we think lined up for that. So it'll be like a 6 day,
smart girl,
6 day, and be like I stay sharp in the vacations. It's not like there's no unwinding. I mean,
it doesn't sound like a vacation.
I got to go to work here. I got to make sure that we make some memories.
Right.
We create some memories for
you're
that.
Attacking the vacation.
Yeah, you're attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
mankind.
And my wife Sarah's the same way. So
vacation patches, no?
Yeah, we should have some.
There you go.
That's what you do, right? I mean, it's just the same thing. Patches for what you've accomplished, and then you put the vacation stickers on the suitcases.
Exactly right.
Another analogy. Just came up with it.
There we go.
I love it. I love it. You're the best. Coach, thanks so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, Money, you said it. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, turned into over 30, and just Coach is great. And I just go back to that last answer on the offensive line, the amount of in-depth analysis he gave, but also because you said the fans love the offensive line, and he was like, I got to give them what they want.
And I'm not that wasn't blowing smoke either, man. I go into the YouTube comments and it's 50% minimum. 50% are comments about the offensive line. And it's just, he's got him, man. He's got him hooked. And now look, I think it also has something to do with the way the season played out last year, and the questions about Bradley and Zion and how this whole thing's going to shake out in the contract with Rashawn Slater and how impressive their top 5 pick was and Joe Alt. I mean, it certainly has something to do with it, but I think our fan base, the Chargers fan base, is incredibly smart and recognizes and has picked up those cues from Coach Harbaugh about how that's the unit that's got to operate at a certain level in order for this whole thing to work. And if they don't, it's not gonna. And you heard Coach Roman talk about it as well. He's like, well, so it's like, it's not just Coach Harbaugh. It's like Coach Roman saying, well, look, if we can't block, well, now play action's not going to work because they're not honoring the run and because they've shut down my run game. And now they're not biting on play action. And now if they're in my backfield because they're taking advantage of what's up front, now I can't have a 7-step drop. Now I can't run routes. So they know everything's going to be quick game and they're going to be jumping routes and stuff. He's like, that's it. It's where it starts. If you don't have offensive line, you have nothing. So the coaches have done a good job of conditioning us and the fans to know how important that group is. And certainly it's been a driving force this entire offseason when it comes to the commentary that we find beneath our videos on YouTube that I've engaged with. And I do want to point out, I quickly want to apologize because I don't like asking long questions. I know I get very long-winded on here when you and I are talking, much to the detriment of the contributions you can make because I talk too much.
Come on, dude.
But,
we love to hear the voice, bro.
Yeah, but I did ask an incredibly long-winded question to Coach about his positivity and the way he coaches. And I apologize for taking so long to get to my point, but I wanted to make sure, because Coach doesn't like you kissing his ass. I wanted to make sure he knew it wasn't a kiss-ass question, but it was just, how did you come upon this philosophy? And then I had not seen the Ted Lasso stuff yet. And so Eric Smith, who obviously does a great job with us at Chargers.com, had pointed it out to me. And so then I went and sought that. I was like, oh, crap. It's like the entire thing that he's talking about here. So it's just kind of like, hey, I'm repurposing it, and it's a long question, and it's following this because this is going to come out when it comes out. So, again, apologies.
Well, I think the people know it's hard to keep up with a 24-hour news cycle. And the fact that we did this on Monday, there's stuff that happens. How many times have we done this podcast where we talk about a free agent and they get signed the next day or the next minute after
3 hours later
after we post? What was I going to mention to you? Oh, with Coach in some of the things that he talked about with the offensive line, I wanted to mention it because it goes back to your original interview with Greg Roman. Greg Roman says Joe Alt, hands down, all pro. I talked to Joe about what Greg Roman said during media day, and he just talked about how much more comfortable he feels in year 2, actually being able to like train and do football as opposed to prepare to get drafted for an NFL team. And here Coach Harbaugh says gold jacket. Like he says Joe Alt is gold jacket material in year 2. Yeah. And we knew how good Joe was his rookie year. And, when he was selected 5 overall and Malik Neighbors was on the board and some other players were available, we knew that offensive line, as Coach always says, tip of the spear. But in year 2, to already have that conviction about your right tackle, I think it speaks volumes.
Home run pick.
Yeah.
Home run pick. And it's not taking anything away from Malik Neighbors, who had an exceptional rookie season.
He was great.
But, and again, I don't think you could have gone wrong on that. But for what this team wants to do, how this team wants to operate, I've said it a million times. You see it. You see wide receivers move around quite a bit when teams don't feel like paying them, whether that's A.J. Brown or, the list just goes on. DK Metcalf just getting traded. Like, what you don't see is O-lineman. I know, Laramie Tunsil's been traded twice. How'd that work out for the first team? The Dolphins chased a left tackle for the next 10 years and could never get it right. Trent Williams traded from Washington to San Francisco. They end up going to 2 Super Bowls with him as arguably the MVP of that team. Like, it just doesn't O-line. That's why Rashawn Slater's contract's going to get done. Like, that's just how this thing works. So, and look, we did this. We did this going into the draft. We did this coming out of that draft. So we remember what was said. We remember what the temperature was when Joe was the pick. And so, not saying that you have to hold to that and own it or eat crow. That's not the point at all. It's just, I think it's exciting to know that even in the light of a passing league that we are now, explosive superstars trying to get all that sizzle, this is a front office and a coaching staff that's like, no, give us the foundation. We'll build the house later on top of it, but we got to pour the concrete. We got to put the footings in the ground and pour the concrete first.
Yep.
And man, what a home run pick that thing was.
Year 2 of Coach Harbaugh is going to be exciting. Money, is there anything else before we get out of here? And, there's nobody else at the Bolt for the next month, but we're going to keep the podcast going. I think we'll do a mailbag next week. So, I'll send out a tweet, but if you guys want to tweet at Money or myself or comments, whatever, we'll get to some questions next week.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I'm gonna really, because the training camp's over, I'm gonna start digging into a ton of film from last year and just kind of get into 3rd and longs and what did that look like, and kind of get into Thule and sort of what happened in November that didn't happen any other month, and just kind of how these all that sort of stuff. There's still plenty of things that we can get into.
Oh yeah.
Now that I have a bit of a break where we can dig into it, but yeah, please comment below the video. Chris will send out a tweet for the mailbags. So anything you guys are thinking about that maybe didn't come up with us. The only thing I don't want to hear from you folks, I want to hear about Navy uniforms. All right. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So
now that's all you're going to hear about now.
You keep the Navies to yourself. You understand they're winless in Navies. So I don't want to hear it. It's Royals. We want the 1978 to 1981 Royal Blues. That's what we want. And by we, I mean this guy right here. I can't speak for Chris. He probably wants the Navies.
I love the Royals. I'm partial to the Dan Fouts era as well. But the LT Navies. They bring back, I think, a lot of memories for Chargers fans. I mean, this is like the LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, Sean Merriman, Nick Hardwick era.
Look, I'm going to highlight this, Chris. Here we go. When I say Navy, when I say NFL Navy uniform, the first 2 things that come to my head are Dallas Cowboys, and how could they not? The Dallas Cowboy Navies are freaking the Dallas Cowboys. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They wear Navy.
Yeah.
And then the second is the Chicago Bears, the oldest franchise in the NFL. They wear Navy. The America's team and the oldest team in the NFL wear Navy. When you say powder blue, you think of the Chargers. When you say royal blue, I think of the Chargers. When I say Navy, I think of the Cowboys, or I think of the Bears, because they're the Cowboys and the Bears, and they wear Navy. That's.
But if it's a one-off,
sorry, I said I wasn't going to get into it.
But if it's a one-off,
look how beautiful this shade of blue is.
If it's an homage for a game, we've done the Navies and the Royals for a game, but I think the organization and the fans largely recognize the powder blues of the powder blues. That's why that's their primary uniform now. So, Money, if it's uniform talk, if it's 3rd and long, if it's red zone, we'll get into it over the next month. Anything else before we get out of here?
Absolutely, Chris. Looking forward to it again for next week, and obviously moving forward. Keep the communication going. Whatever you guys and gals out there are thinking, we want you to lean in with us as well. We'll be answering. We'll be looking forward to every single week's Chargers Weekly, even though we got nothing planned until the middle of July.
All right, well, plenty of time to get into the uniforms and everything else Chargers as we ramp up to training camp in mid-July. That's going to do it for us. For Money, I'm Chris. This has been Chargers Weekly.